jungle.
When is enough simply enough in a relationship before it turns into abuse? Ladies, what do you think?
I'd say the first slap, that's enough.
Really?
That's how I would
probably
feel.
slap him back.
No, I wouldn't slap him back. I think I'd be so shocked that I'd be like, oh my gosh, so this is my life right now. I'm being slapped. Okay.
Let it get to physical
I
abuse.
mean, but it doesn't always start off as emotional.
No, I think it starts
it's always
off verbally.
with plans. Yeah,
Verbally. I
it's
feel
always
like he will abuse you verbally. You just take it, you just accept it, and then the next thing it turns into hitting, and then it's like a whole, oh my gosh, I have to stay in this relationship. I'm in love.
Not
type of thing,
necessarily, guys.
But most women are afraid to leave.
Not necessarily, because you guys assume that it always starts verbally. Not
Yeah,
usually.
I don't
Usually
think
you get a
it
man
always
that
starts
gives
verbally.
you the world, and I mean the world. And one day you make one mistake. He just sees you talking to a guy, and you get he just sees you talking to a guy, and you get home and he smacks you. What do you do then? Because you guys are saying it's verbal. It's not verbal. It's not a verbal thing. Not always.
Not always.
But most of the
Whenever you
time,
just feel uncomfortable around this guy, like, man,
What is uncomfortable?
What is different? You know, you need to also define what abuse is. Abuse could be for you something else, and for another person another thing.
Yeah.
The moment you feel that you're abused, if it's physically, if it's emotionally, if it's verbally, whatever it is, the moment you feel that this thing is going to be abused,
that should be enough.
So what is verbal? Like, explain to me what is verbal. Because to another woman, she'll think, oh, he loves me. What is verbal? Because remember, it's also based in our environment that we are raised in. You know, what you're taught, when he says this, no, I'm in love, or he loves you. But in the real world, that is not love, that is abuse. So that's what I'm saying. You need to differentiate what is verbal to you, so that a person knows. Just like it's like a stop sign. How do you know that if I put a blank thing, how do you know that's a stop sign?
I also feel that there's no actual need for physical violence within a relationship. I feel like if you tell someone that you love them and you marry them, I'm assuming that's where we're talking, like the relationship. The reason you're not leaving is chances are you're like married, or you're in a situation where it's hard for you to leave. So when you're at that level already, I feel like there's no one should be getting hit, including the guy. Even like this is so emotional.
if a woman comes up to you and be like, "Get ready, leave me alone, y'all thing," and points, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna smile and say, be humble.
I'm gonna walk.
Okay.
Listen, the question says when is enough, right?
Yeah.
So that's different. In every relationship, you need to have boundaries is not the word that I'm looking for. You need to have ground rules, basically. You need to have ground rules. So my enough could be like, for me, one of my pet peeves is like, you hang up the phone on me. You know, so enough. So you gotta have like ground rules, then work around it, because there's some things that I'll tell you, Yuri doesn't like that. Yuri doesn't like, you tell me what you don't like as well. So we can work to get to a point together. Instead of just like living in this honeymoon phase or in this thing, you gotta have communication, because enough for you could be a slap, enough for her could be a baseball bat. So you see, everything is different. So you gotta
Also,
have.
I think like with guys and girls, like girls often think that like, I think there's like this big focus about guys hitting and being physically abusive, but there's quite a bit of like abuse from women on guys, emotionally and verbally. And guys haven't really, well, I guess we just not been taught to like deal with them and like sort out those issues. And often what happens is you may have, I'm not saying this all the time, but like you may have a guy who gets emotionally abused, and then it gets to a point where he breaches that threshold and breaking point. And this guy is broken now, and then he will become physically like abused. People don't understand that abuse is a really big thing, and we also may receive it. And guys actually really focus on the verbal and emotional abuse that may be received to guys as well, as much as we give physical abuse.
Women have a mouth and a half, as you mentioned. So verbal abuse, I feel like it's stronger than physical abuse.
because it lives with you. Physical abuse, you'll heal and sometimes it stops, but verbal abuse lives with you like forever until you break that bondage or that chain or those words that keep recurring in your head.
If you're in a relationship with somebody, you never truly show your real side. Everybody shows their best. Yes. People show their be honest. You show your
what
best
level of
side.
relationship are you talking about?
honeymoon phase.
Yeah, honeymoon phase is a real thing.
Yes.
Honeymoon phase is a real thing. Some people it lasts until they get married,
and then
you see the true colors. It really is. And that's why I say every person has their own. You know, you define your own things with relationships. You really do.
You must be real. You must be hundreds. You must. But appearance will always play a role.
True.
It will always. You always want to. You want the best for yourself. You want people to see the best of you. Nobody ever goes out in this world and I want you to see my flaws. No, people want others to see the best of them.
What? You know what you need to do? What you guys need to do, right? I'm dropping some jewels. What you take your damn phone, write this out. So what you need to do is sometimes you need to poke. You need to poke because you know if everything goes wrong.
Poking, right?
Yeah.
You guys were talking about.
That's why I'm not about poking though. Poking can get you slapped, can get you bitten. You definitely poked.
I said poke, not hits. There's a difference.
Why is there not a person who does the whole provoking thing?
No, it's not
Like
provoking
the
thing.
thing
You
is
just
though.
set things up. Not scenario.
And then you don't like the reaction and then
Okay, I get what you're saying.
It's a learning curve.
so must learn how to use my jewels.
Stop, Drew, please, I'm taking notes.
Drop your jewels.
What he's saying makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want is to be unaware and then you do something at its fullest potential. Now it's like, hey.
Yeah.
True.
But like, I think honestly that abuse in itself actually touches a lot of grounds beyond just like abuse, because for me I think it's like enough is a psychological thing, you know, because for you I'm trying to phrase it better, when it starts affecting your psychology, when it starts affecting the way you perceive things and your relations with people, I think that's the biggest thing, you know, that's the big enough, you know what I'm saying. If you don't respect things that I think are fundamental to my identity, then you know, because if I misrespect that also about you, you know.
So you're literally saying your threshold is 0. You have no room.
Well,
No, it's fine.
yeah,
It's good.
and I really do agree with like what you were saying. You know, for every person, it's a different story and it's a different scenario. Considering also how manipulation works into abuse as well, you know, and a lot of other aspects. That's what I'm saying. It's such a broad thing to say. Abuse.
Yeah.
You know.
I think in terms of what he's saying, I totally agree with but I don't, for me, I don't think you should always poke. Some people it's poke. Some people it's having the type of relationship where you guys have had a relationship for so long. Someone once said you have to at least have a year so that you've gone through all 4 seasons. So you've seen this whole. No, but what I'm talking about, I'm talking metaphorically. I'm not talking about a year like season. I just mean you see when this guy's angry and you see when he's sad. You know that this is the kind of thing. I did this. I hung up on you one day and he was pissed and it messed up. It shook our relationship. So this is the kind of thing that gets him irritated. And so you guys speak about it. And that's also another thing. Communication is a big part. Whether in terms of you guys have to speak about I hung up on you and you got so pissed and you weren't speaking to me. So what happened there? And then you guys communicate.
The thing is that you, as a person, as a guy, you know yourself better than anybody, right? The reason why I brought up that hanging up thing is because I know myself. You know yourself. You know what irritates you, and to avoid all of that, you communicate to the other person because you don't want to get to that enough where it breaks the camel's back. Because that's in a relationship, girls are usually manipulative, as in like.
What?
Don't get me wrong, I said usually. You know, for a rule to be a rule, you have to have an exception, right? So, that's Jules right there, she doesn't know. Girls are usually manipulative. That's what I was doing. I was stirring the pot.
How can you stir the pot and think that you're fine as a person?
I was dropping jewels. Later, as in like, guys, we conditioned to be able to take that. Be able to almost take abuse or whatever because girls have mouth on them, like bam, 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 and then we take it, and then one day you're gonna say something, and then I'm like,
Actually, I have a question.
What if I'm a girl who doesn't have a
I have a
mom
question,
there,
though.
and you are just an abusive guy? I don't know if you guys have seen Medea's family reunion.
Yes.
That Jade's, he's just an actor, but I'm scared of him. Literally, that girl did nothing. He's just an evil person. I don't need you to abuse me. As soon as you start abusing me, I don't need you at all in any way in my life, okay? I need the perfect guy.
Because I'll tell you something personally, I was abused. And if you guys see the men that abused me, you guys would be shocked.
Yeah, same as
you guys would be shocked. The guy was the sweetest, calmest person. I was with him for 2 years and a half. Never touched me. Nothing. One day.
But I think
I turned around and I smacked.
Look, this.
For what I didn't even know, you know. For what I didn't, I'll tell you something. I didn't know. And you talk about communication. I've been with this guy for 2 years and a half.
I'll tell you what.
And that's what Steph says, that people can pretend. So they get something. I would have rather you said to me, Paula, when you do, just like when you say, when you do this, I don't appreciate it, because that way, I wouldn't have to prolong it for the whole 2 years and a half.
That's the thing with guys though. That's the thing with guys though. The
communication.
The problem gets where guys don't talk. Right? And women, if you do something that annoys me or irritates me, I'll tell you, I'll let you know then and then, like, fam, I don't like that, that's not cool. You know what I mean? But guys will let it slip, let it slide, be quiet, nah. I'll carry on. Then the day comes, then bam. You know what I mean? That in it, I can accept the fact that maybe I had pushed you to a limit, but how did I know we were even getting to that limit?
But the question is not only do guys not talk, another part is also, do girls listen? Do women listen? Because sometimes the nigga can be, listen, you're pissing me off. No, nigga, you don't know. You are damn man. Listen, girl.
I think that they should be mature, right? This is a conversation. Let's talk about this and listen to each other. It's not about you're gonna say something and not everyone is mature.
When you're angry, when you're going through the most and you're angry, I don't know, in that moment, I don't know what it is that takes you off. If you're so pissed and you're always coming like this, are you listening to what I'm saying? And sometimes you're not even listening, you're waiting for them to finish so that you can talk.
You listen to reply.
Yeah, you're actually even waiting just to talk. You say, no, I hear you, but you're
if somebody slaps me, someone's gonna walk out of their, someone's gonna
Everyone says that. When someone hits me, I'm gonna walk.
But
you think I just sat there like, oh, go ahead, hit me. No. The problem is this. A man is physically stronger than you. Don't get it twisted. If a man is holding on a choker holding thingy, your hands could be swimming. It ain't gonna work. The one thing I'll tell you this, right, is that let's just talk about the Congolese community, okay? If I'm dating Harmony, I've been dating him for 2 years and a half. Everybody expects you because of the perfect couple. You guys are gonna get married. Let's be honest. Do you think it's easy for me to go to Steph and be like, Steph, this is what's going on? And especially, let's say everyone loves Harmony. Harmony is amazing. Now think about it, guys. I'll go and say, Merveille, how many things? You know one thing, Merveille's going to defend him. It's not always easy to go and...
Appearance is not as important as the relationship. You know what I'm saying? It's a thing of, okay, no, he thinks and she thinks you're an angel. Oh yeah, but behind closed doors,
but it's easier said than done, really.
Love has to be a good friend to you and understand that everything you say takes priority over
our own parents do that to us. Our own parents do that to us. You go to a friend and say, am I lying? You must be strong.
Then you understand that in yourself, I can't listen to bullshit like that. For my benefits, I need to listen to my friends, and I need to understand that the guy actually has bad intentions for my friends.
The first time I ever gotten beaten up was in front of my friends. You know what my friends said? They were like, but Paula, you're not supposed to say that.
But that's the thing, that's what I'm saying, that's where we when we started and we said that abuse starts, it starts even before the hit. Because a nigga will prepare you, you know what I mean? Like, not intentionally, maybe not intentionally, but even with everything that he says, he will prepare you. That's
like one day you say, one day I'll choke you type of thing.
No, they're not like that. But I mean, like, no.
Isn't the onus also on young women to also take a decision to just leave the relationship?
It's not
it's not that easy, but I think women place so much of their self-value on the guy, so they tend to tolerate things. Exactly.
Why is it not easy? This is what I was saying. This is what I was getting to. This is what I was getting to. When I say that he was preparing, I'm not talking about the threats. I'm talking about the fact that they will break your self-worth and make you feel like you're dependent on them. So like the moment that they hit you, the moment that they hit you, you're kind of like, now you're like, how am I gonna leave? Exactly. I'm gonna find another nigga like this guy, and you think it's easy. Like you think it's easy. Like you'll be like, no, and you must just. It's really hard to change and unlearn all of that.
You know, ask something. In that whole breaking down period that happens that you just mentioned now, are you not conscious that it's happening?
You only realize afterwards.
You are so.
You only realize
If the guy is taking you to Dubai and you think you conscious, but
I feel like it's manipulation. Like he'll make you feel like he's abusing you because he loves you. You
I feel like
and you don't feel like okay.
But is that how you
teaching
feel?
me. He's just teaching me how to be right for him.
You guys undermine.
So you're gonna stay.
You guys
and you're gonna
undermine
be with
the
him.
power of a man's ability to make you feel like you're wrong. And
But
on
that
top
also
of it,
goes with women as well.
How are you not conscious?
No, the thing is, you can be conscious, whatever, but you don't understand the power a man can actually
Literally.
have. Words that he says
Okay,
to
let
you
me
and
tell
stuff
you
like
something,
that. Okay,
right?
true, women can also have those kind of effects on men and women.
Yeah.
But relationships at the end of the day is an investment. Do you walk away from like after you like you know you go to the bank, whatever, you're busy investing in something, you're just gonna walk away from it?
It's not easy. And then you find yourself marrying the person and realizing that you were living in a dream. You thought that this guy is preparing you for this relationship.
Women say things but don't listen. Like I'm sure if you were listening or you were seeing the signs, if I'm standing from outside and looking in, I was gonna be able to tell you that this is what is going on in your relationship. Because things don't just happen. It's a build-up of things.
Yeah.
It's a build-up of things. And then, unfortunately for you, it got to that point, but things don't happen. The thing is that as a person, you've got to learn how to listen, how to pick up signs. I know that it's difficult or whatever, but then there are things that you tell signs.
Because I can't tell that this guy's actually abusing me. Who is gonna be there to tell me that look, dude, this is harmful for you. You know, you can't stay in this. You need friends. You need, you know,
need
someone to
people
tell
around
you.
you.
You need siblings,
But that's
Solange in the elevator, telling fiance, dude, you need to leave this guy.
Yeah.
But that's why, like, normally you're meant to have either like first like mentorship in that process.
Yeah.
If they're serious, they're meant to be like someone should be there watching how everything's going, helping you, like a woman and a man on both sides. Make sure that it goes there.
Yes,
Your friends should also, I think, as guys, we don't speak much to our friends about the serious issues. And
Do you know how important it is for guys to start talking about this?
But I think we have to also recognize, I think with women, I don't think that I know for guys it's very real about the ways in which we can manipulate you and do that. But I think with girls it's also a very like unique way of trying to demasculate a man to then get things away from him. But it's very and so that kind of has given women this platform that they have this like power where their only weapon is to just go at you and to like talk. So they harness that as their weapon against you. I think like it's very powerful because if you make me feel like I'm just a man, that is just as equal like the kind of abuse that will just go in and in fact you even find it going towards the end points of being physical, and it's actually really like weird like how this big guy get beaten by this tiny woman is like, well, what happened was she was first emasculated and then now it's hectic. So I think
what is to be emasculated?
It's when someone so I guess in me I had before when someone like actually breaks down the things that society, well, even the good
what
things.
makes you a man?
So for instance, the idea of being the good boyfriend who takes care of you, does what, wants to go around with you, want to walk with you, if they don't make you feel like you aren't the man that's worth them, that's trying to break down your manhood in their own rights. If you see them with their guy friends having a great time, oh, that guy's so great, and with you, you're like a weakling, whatever, you're so weak, you're so mature,
You're not like him.
yeah, exactly, you're not like that guy, get more mature, all that breaks down because
So actually you want a woman to feed your ego, basically.
No, we want you to build up our character.
The thing is a
I want you to build my
subjective
character.
thing now because you're basically speaking about stuff on insecurities. You're telling me don't pick my insecurities.
No.
But that's the same thing.
I'm saying don't break me down. I'm saying build my character. If you want me to be a guy who will go out with you and be this kind of man, mature, build my character. Don't break me down. If it was a girl who was like that, I'm saying that guy will be the one who will hit you, but he's the one being abused in that scenario. That's how it happens with guys a lot of the time.
That's like emotional.
Okay. And true, you can be pushed to the point of abuse, but that's what it goes back to the fact that this idea of hypermasculinity, where guys are supposed to take it and just man up and just deal with it, like that issue is killing us as women because when you guys don't handle your issues, it now comes onto us. You know what I'm saying? Like even though we have a part in the, whatever's happening with you, if you guys don't handle it, then it comes to now abuse the issues and the there were red flags but nobody picked them up, and when you're in that kind of situation, you are broken down, you're already emotionally abused. By the time it gets to a physical situation, you don't leave because you've been made to believe that you won't find anybody else. It's late.
It's not realistic. You guys, you sitting and saying, let's sit and let's communicate. That is not realistic.
It's not
Stop. Let me
one
say something. My question to you, I want to ask you saying that, I'm grown, you grown.
Yes.
I'm grown. Do you know my background to begin with, in the sense of we dating, okay? If my background, I saw my parents, my dad was hitting my mom and it's okay to me. How is someone else going to tell me differently? How am I going to listen to a person differently? Because, hold on, no. I wouldn't know any better. That's the thing. Another thing you guys don't understand, and we in the black community, we don't talk about it. Do you guys know that there's also sicknesses behind it? There's bipolar, split personality disorders. Do you guys actually know that?
Yeah.
We don't speak about it like Ali Goma, or he's abusive, or go to church, but we don't actually go. Mental health.
Is it treatable? If it's treatable, like if it's something where the homie can take pills, and I'm lying to you.
I'm
out.
We don't realize that sometimes our parents or our environment build us from a young age. There's nothing to do with the girl. It has to do with from a young age. His own mother has been breaking him down, to understand. How am I now to come save him when I don't even know what's going on in his head? And you guys say communication.
You wouldn't know yourself.
You guys know communication.
She has a very valid point. Broken people have a tendency to break others without knowing.
And they also have a tendency of not knowing they broke.
Exactly. So I can't be like, okay.
You also need to start looking at a person's background. You're not going to come to a person and be like, listen, I'm sick. How do you know you're bipolar? How do you know you have split personality disorders? How do you know that?
I'm broken, and I'm just gonna let you know. Like, that doesn't work like that. That's not
I don't know what's wrong with you.
You don't know what's wrong with you, right? But then there's a pattern. You're gonna date somebody, you break up because of that. You're gonna date somebody, break up because of that. Break up because of that. Then you're gonna see a pattern. You're gonna be like, I'm breaking up because of this. That means there has to be something wrong. Like there's a constant. So you've got to look at yourself as well. Maybe I'm bipolar. Maybe I'm whatever. But then, if you're a normal person, you know that.
How do you know what is normal? Define normal.
Yes, when you know what's wrong, you don't know what is.
We may think normal, but not normal.
Average is the truth.
You're gonna put your hand in water, hot water. You burn yourself. Put your hand in hot water. Then you realize that maybe putting my hand in something's wrong.
It's not fair because women, we have bridal showers where they give their advice. Men don't have these things. Men are taught you need to be like, you don't need to be emotional. That's it. Women are taught you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. There's so many things, but it's not fair. It goes both ways. Women, when they get married, you choose a godparents, right? And those are the people you're supposed to talk to, etc. Men, and usually in most cases it's for the woman. They even tell the woman choose because I know you the one. Why? Because men also have problems. Men have issues. They think that rape needs to be the society has problem. It needs to be
Guys are emotional, by the way. We just
But then the thing is not
emotional. We are emotional, but then I think we're not.
No, we don't act on our emotions.
We're not as wild.
But like Steph, I'm with you there in the sense that I think women don't talk about this enough. Where you'll need to realize that you are your own person before you're someone else's. And once you can get that, then you know exactly what you can take and what you don't take. Because even if history has shown that women have had an over-dependence on men. Like if you look at back in the days, you know, where women were basically treated like animals, you know. You come here, I dollar what I must, we move on. But as time has progressed, we see that women are becoming more independent and so forth. And I think with time, obviously it's going to change. But like, especially in the Congolese community, have you seen white girls, when there's something they cannot take, they will leave. But like with Congolese, it's like...
No. White girls are more tolerant than black girls.
No, but the thing is, why do you think the divorce with white people is so much higher than with black people?
It's not a race thing. It's not abuse is beyond races. It's beyond ethnicities. It's beyond cultures or whatever. Yes, certain cultures tend to stay more in relationships, even though they're getting abused. But abuse goes beyond the stretch. And
I think African cultures have kind of tried to make a way of trying to work things out and put like a big value on marriage.
Yes.
So there's much more value on marriage in Black and African societies than there is in European white societies. And you see it when you look at how they try to like sort out everything, even the most controversial of issues, like you can find like abuse, sexual abuse with any, I mean you can see how it is there. But I think like what happens with guys, we actually do talk, and we have like those close friends that we like talk to, will say stuff. I think we've been kind of like taught to always back off when the girls are upset. It's a weird thing, like we could fight a whole lot more if we wanted to, like say things back to you and all that, but we've been taught to not fight, it's not worth the fight. And the thing is, like, I think there is this strange idea of we've been taught to back off, you're a guy, take it cool. And I think if we are taught that, then I think what happens is that you may take it in, take it in, take it in, take it in, and then you know.
But you do realize that it's wrong, right?
Yes. But also I think like girls should know that, listen, when there's a fight happening, firstly one, make sure that he also like says his part. If he doesn't, that will build up. Two, also after a fight, sit there and ask yourself, why did I fight? Is this an actual really big issue or not? If it is a big issue, ask yourself, something here is not right. And then you'll now see, like you were asking earlier, how do I know? You'll know with each fight. Go back and ask yourself, why was I fighting? Was I being dumb, stupid, or was this actually like a genuine issue about us communicating, about our lives going forward? But if it is that big, I'm telling you right now, it's a matter of time for something.
And wait, can I ask another question?
Yeah.
So since we're talking about relationship in general, when is it enough like where you involve your parents? Like, you know, in the Karabo case, where she got beaten and she killed. At what point do you involve your parents?
It's wise to speak to your parents, but it's dangerous to speak to your parents because your parents are always going to take your side and they might give you advice to protect you because they love you, but that advice might not always necessarily be the best thing for your relationship. And I like what he's saying where he's like assess yourself after it. And I think also we shouldn't be afraid in relationships. Both men, both women, both men and women shouldn't be afraid in a relationship to say, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Go sit back and look at your relationship. Because some people value their opinion and them being right more than they value their relationship. You would rather be more right in your relationship and then an argument, a fight go on to be insane and you guys might even break up or there might be abuse or whatever just because you want to be right. It's not important. So enough, okay, to answer that enough.
If their husbands don't hit them or their boyfriends don't hit them, they don't feel like they love them. You're not giving me attention. That's the thing.
This
world is
This world it's a funny place.
So I'm gonna have to say this when I said guys aren't emotionally nice, like guys are emotionless or no, because people are gonna think Yuri's not emotional. The way that God made us, guys use their brain differently to women. Is that true?
It's true.
Women are a little bit more emotional. That's why you carry babies, because you know how to love more. You know how to, you're a little bit, and we think with our logical side more than our emotional side. Not saying that we don't have emotions, but we do, but we think with our logical side more than our emotions.
By the time we get to 28, there's no time, okay guys? There's no time to be like, you go get to know me. So I'm gonna let you know what you're dealing with. So you know, I do that because anyone that's dating me knows who I am. When someone's like, oh, Paula, there goes Paula. My man can be, my man can be like, that's my boo. I know she crazy.
You're pretty wild. You're out there. You're exuberant. Girl, you do the
so
things.
wild?
No, not wild in a bad way. Wild in you do the things. You go the extra mile. Girl, you the dad. You go, girl.
It must be like that because immediately it's a thing that when you're a little younger you hide. You have this thing of if I show him, oh, he'll run away. His boys will say this. I'm at a point where I'm very comfortable with myself.
Let me say
You
no.
say,
Let me speak
no,
to
I'm
what
saying
I'm
in general. Because you were saying that.
Because you're cutting me off. That's the thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
Are you getting defensive?
Listen, let me finish the sentence. That's a big problem because usually they don't listen. That's what it is. That's what it boils down to. Women hardly listen. That's what it is.
This is what I'm saying. You're gonna come at a guy and say everything. Maybe he's not even ready to listen to that. You've got to be able to understand this is the right time and this isn't the right time to say certain thing.
If you're not ready to hear what I have to say, then you're not the right person.
Okay.
It's true.
You're saying that, right? You're not the right guy for you. What is the ratio between guys and girls?
In terms of?
Oh, 2 for 1. There's more girls than guys.
Yes,
I don't care if
right.
I'm rich.
There's a ratio like that. You're gonna be like, you're not the right man for me. You say everything. I'm like, I wasn't ready to hear that. You tell me that. Bye. The next guy come, and guess who's gonna be alone? I'm always gonna find a girl. You as a woman.
For me personally, I think enough is the moment you stop making excuses for the other person.
You start or stop?
Stop.
You know what?
When you stop making excuses
when you
for
stop
someone, that's when
making-
you know that you don't
that's when for enough is enough for me.
That's when.
So that's when you've reached enough. When you
That's a
stop
third
making.
party. That's a
That's a third party telling you because when you start making
You're supposed to have date night with your man, and your man doesn't call, doesn't hit you up. You hear from him the next day. Throughout that period, there's a process that's going on. He might be with his mom. He might be what.
Cheating.
But you know that, that's on a small scale. But the simple fact that you're making an excuse for him, an excuse for him to validate the way to validate how he's compromising your values.
Can you feel like it's hard to say when enough is enough because in relationships you always want to help the person be better. So if they are acting in a way that is quite abusive or whatever, you'd want to help them, and that's why you'd stay.
Tolerance is your own thing. How much you tolerate is how strong you are. But you don't accept abuse. So.
Yeah, you don't accept abuse. Definitely not. Sometimes, but it's tricky, because sometimes it's like kinky, and you don't.
Enough is enough when you felt abused and then you come to that person and you sit and you say, listen, stand up. But right now, this is the situation. If I'm feeling abused, what you did was wrong, whatever. If you guys don't resolve that right now, that person doesn't respect whatever, that's when it's enough. Because I really believe if he says, listen, and obviously they're gonna lie every time when they say, no, I'm gonna work on it, and then they do it again, and then you guys sit down again and say, listen, you said this last time. And then after that, it's done. It's done.
But you can help that person from afar, fam. You can help that person from afar. I ain't gotta help you. I have to do the relationship. I'm good.
There are certain people that don't want to be helped. They will drown you. Have you ever thrown a person that's in a pool, you're trying to help them, but they're pulling you back? That's what they tend to do.
Just to go back to the question, for me, enough is enough when you don't feel safe. And I don't mean that necessarily in a physical manner, but if you don't feel safe enough to go to your partner and say, you don't feel safe enough to go to your partner and do, then it's enough. You know what I'm saying? Your partner that you're in a relationship with is your second half. That's your brother. When you're down, that person lifts you up. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't feel safe enough,
to let
Yes.
There's certain things that you just cannot compromise on, and if you begin to compromise on those things, then it's abuse.
Yeah, I think like people take like that not compromising thing as a lack of love. You know, like someone said earlier, I think you can love from afar.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
like you don't have to be with the person to to love the person.
Fam, you can bang on some boxes
Yeah.
or walls and things. Not me. I'm good.
Yeah.
One time I'm out.